Oh, okay. So it's being recorded just in case I, needed to.
Yeah. Um, so do you want to talk about Florida?
Oh, dude, Florida is amazing.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, no, I love it. Everybody got here last night. So, you know, Ella drove out here with us, but then went back to finish out school.
Hmm.
So she flew out. Her mom flew out, her sister flew out, everybody flew out yesterday. Everybody else got in town Thursday. So now everybody's here. I mean, although we've been here for 2 months, it's official now. Everybody's here. So
Yeah.
um I love it. It's hot. It's definitely hot. The rains are different.
Mhm.
So you get soaked when it rains. It doesn't sprinkle at all. It like floods.
Yeah.
Um, but other than that, I mean, it's tropical weather, kind of like San Diego, just a little bit warmer. But I mean, I love it. There's
Yeah.
no the taxes or I got my first paycheck and I was like, wait a second,
Yeah.
excuse me, I need to give you money back. I need to pay some taxes or something.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's true.
But
It's been like sweltering here, but at the same time, like, I mean, our electricity bill, we ran like the AC. I like turned it off and then turned it. I didn't like do the setting where I keep it at the one temp, but I turned it
right.
on a lot, and our bill went up like $15 for the month. I was like, nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I was talking to somebody about like a water bill and they were like, yeah, you're not really going to get one of those here. And I was like, oh, why? And he goes, because we're surrounded by water.
Yeah.
There's not an issue with water.
Yeah.
It's
A
easy
lot
to get.
of Florida's probably like quarterly. Cause like I know a lot of states send it like quarterly because it's just like if they send it monthly, it's like $10 or something. Like,
Oh, it doesn't even make sense. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I guess we haven't been here long
Oh,
enough to figure that out,
yeah. Nice.
but
Nice.
yeah, but no, we love it. The big difference I think is going from, in San Diego when you've got, oh, I got to go 10 miles. It's like I can get there in 7 minutes, 10
Yep.
minutes, 15 max. If I
Yeah.
hit like, the two stoplights here, I was going down 6 miles and it took me 33 minutes. I was like, what?
It's
What's
it's
going on?
it's different. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I was telling someone at work that I was like, yeah, I was about like 40 miles from the last gym that I worked at. And he's like, 40 miles, like it would take
Yeah.
3 hours. And I was like, I mean, it took me like 50 minutes, maybe, like some days less, some days it did take me 2 hours with traffic, but yeah, coming out to Texas, it's the same thing. Like you guys were here, like just
Yeah.
10 miles it could take 15 minutes, it could take 30 or
It's
whatever.
funny because you've said it before too. And, in San Diego, you don't really have this. I mean, you do, but I never grew up thinking about this. Like you live in San Diego, you live in San Diego County.
Mhm.
It's the entire county. That's
Yeah.
it. And here I'm in between like 7 different counties,
Yep.
depending on where I go. And what I've learned is that wherever you live, you stay in that county.
Yeah.
You don't really go to a different county. You find a
Yeah.
job there, you go grocery shopping there, everything's in there. And so when you're driving and you're driving 6 minutes and it's 30 miles,
Yeah.
that's your limit, you
Yeah.
know? And so I'm telling somebody, I'm like, oh, I live in, this part and I'm working in this part. And they're like,
You're crazy.
what? You're
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
How do you do that? And I'm like, oh, it's like a 35-minute drive. And they're like, no.
Yeah.
Gas prices, man. Are you kidding? And I'm like, dude, well, don't even get me started. You should see what the gas prices are in California.
I
It's like
just
I'm
saw,
saving money.
yeah, I just saw something. It said, you know where Mendocino is?
Yeah,
I think it's in the high desert. I don't
yeah.
even know exactly sure, but it's in California. It was 9.79. It doesn't go past 9.99. The signs don't go to
They're
$10.
not big enough. Yeah, yeah. Well, they're gonna take out, that 9/10. It's like 9.99 and 9/10. They're just gonna take it all out, and then now it's just gonna be $1. It's gonna be $15.
Yeah, it could be, I mean, it could be $99 for a gallon
It
then.
could be. You just take that little decimal point out, and
Yeah.
and we're
Who
good.
needs who needs to round the tenth of a cent when we're going up like 20 cents a day?
Exactly. Just round it up. That'll be the next California tax.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, oh man. So you guys still like in Florida or Texas?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's nice. It's hot, like you said, and we actually got a little bit of humidity coming through. But it's It's not bad. We just stay in the house.
You know,
No,
it's funny. Like I was thinking about that the other day. Like we don't ever really do too much outside,
yeah.
you know, to where it's, and that sounds like we're not like active or we go outside or anything. But when we do go outside, right, we're at like the zoo or
Mm,
we're at the pool or somewhere where we can still, you don't notice it that much, I guess is what I'm saying.
yeah.
So we went and played, I put my team into a softball game a couple weeks ago
I think I saw that. Yeah.
and it was about 104 with humidity and you felt it. I mean, I was
Yeah.
like, what, how do people play sports out here?
Yeah.
But that was the only time. Other than that, like you said, we're inside, we're, you know, air conditioned everything, you know, you're going from place to place. It doesn't seem like a huge shift or change right away. So,
Right. Right.
you know,
And then, I mean, it does cool off. Like even in Florida, it cools off. Like once you get out of summer.
yeah, yeah,
So,
we have up until this past week, our with the weather, the biggest difference is, you know, in San Diego, it goes from like 75 to like 30 at night.
mhm,
Here it goes from like 99 to like
70.
85.
Yeah.
So I'll walk outside and I'm at you know, at 10 o'clock at night walking the dog. And I'm like, oh man, it's still hot out here.
Feels like San Diego out
But
here. It's 9 o'clock.
yeah, but
Yeah.
middle of the day. No, but that's it. And then, you know, the last week or so, it's been dropping down to like the mid 70s. So it's fine. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's not
What
bad at all.
what is the biggest thing you noticed? Because I think you told me that you went to like a concert or a couple concerts out there or something. And like what's the biggest thing you noticed, like I guess like culturally, or like, I mean, we both lived in California our whole lives. Like what stands out to you?
Um,
It was
so
hard
it's
for
funny,
me
like it's
to
funny.
like figure it out.
There's pockets, right? There's pockets of different things. But what I do notice is that an overwhelming majority of people are more unhealthy out here for sure. Like you can tell they're more overweight, they're not focused on, you know, certain things. Um, you know, and then it's actually funny, you brought up something when it comes to work that Texas does, you know, they don't work on the weekends.
Mhm.
And same thing, you know, with us, they're like, you know, hey, check in with, you know, X, Y, and Z person, but enjoy your off time, enjoy this, enjoy that.
Mhm.
I've gotten a lot of messages that says like, hey, you know, I'm sending you this message, but please do not read it, do not respond today, respond tomorrow. And I'm like, this is weird,
You're
you
like, I
know,
looked at it though. I gotta respond. That's like
I
the
gotta respond,
mentality
right?
that we're like trained in. Yeah.
Yeah, so those are the biggest differences. But when it comes to like concerts and stuff, you know, Ryan was looking around and she was like, wow, it's not a lot of people work out here, you know. It's
Yeah.
just a
I think,
different vibe. But
yeah, I think I might have said it the other time, and obviously you're in the fitness industry still with a different company, but like even with me within the same company coming to Texas, like it's different. Like you're saying, like people, at least in Texas, are much more like economical with their memberships, to where they're
mhm,
like, well, I'm not using it, or I'm not going to use it over the summer, or I'm only going to use it over the summer and I'm going to cancel it. Whereas like in California, it's almost like a, like, what gym do you go to? Oh, you're not part of a gym. You must be on, even if you're not
right,
unhealthy, you're just not a member at a gym. It's like, what's wrong with you? You know?
right, right. And you know, I think the other biggest thing too is people are they're open-minded about certain things,
Mhm.
right? And so, you know, I don't know if Texas is like this. I don't think we've ever really talked about this because I didn't even know that this would have been a difference before moving here. But in San Diego and California, I feel like most people are there's always a catch, right? There's always somebody trying to sue you. There's always somebody trying to sell you. There's always, you know, okay, I'm getting this, but you're gonna try and sell me something at the end of that.
Yeah.
And so, you know, being out here, fitness industry is the same, right? You're giving somebody an opportunity to work with you for an hour, you know, all this stuff. But people are like, oh, okay, awesome. That's great. Like, let me sit down with you. Let me ask you questions. Let me do this. And it's just a you're not trying to sell anything, you know, and that's something that we've always tried to talk about is like, you're not selling somebody something, you're just trying to educate them, and business builds off of that. um,
Yep.
that's it's crazy different. Everybody here is just like, oh yeah, that an hour, okay, let's go. Like,
Yeah.
oh man, this is
It's
this is
hard to,
different.
yeah, it's hard to even define like what I know what you're talking about too. And yeah, it's just I feel like I think again, I've said it before, but like in California, there was like a cloud over like, and almost it's like a mentality to where like you do think that like people are out to get you, because I mean they kind of are. It's like like around every corner there might be like a weird tax or like a weird contract that you can't get out of, or something
Right.
like a setup.
Right.
And you like, I felt at least like always kind of on the defensive, like, you're going shopping, and this happens everywhere, of course, but they're like, you got to get this credit card, you got to save 5% on the, I'm like, no, I'm good. They're like, no,
Yep.
you can really get it. And it's like, I'm just trying to get my groceries, like, please.
Yeah, yeah, and oh well, you can do, if you get this card, you get 5%. If you add your bank account, you get another 2%. If you do that, it's just
Yeah.
like there's too much, right? So yeah, here I guess the best way to describe it is like people are more trusting,
Or
but
real.
they're
Yeah.
also and real. They're also looking for a solution without expecting to be like sold or there to be a catch or something on the back end. So you can actually be, more upfront with somebody,
Mhm.
and it's crazy. We talk about this, being back in San Diego, fitness industry, you couldn't get somebody to work with you 3 times a week if you wanted to. It was always like, price wise, it was always 2 times a week, or maybe one just to get them started or something. And here it's like, oh, let's go 4 times a week, at
Yeah.
least to start. Maybe we'll drop down later. I'm like, okay, wow, this is
You could, yeah, you could,
different.
and it, not like tooting our own horns or anything, but I would say we're both pretty experienced in fitness sales. But like, I'm sure I sometimes I couldn't even get people to talk to me because they're just like,
Yeah.
no, I don't. Whatever, it doesn't matter what you're selling. You could sell the cure to cancer. Nope,
Nope.
I'm good.
Nope. There's so much pressure on everything, and it's crazy because you when I came out here, I was like, oh, in my head, I'm like, oh man, there's pressure to perform. I'm
Mhm.
switching companies. I'm this person that was taken from another company and
Like a
put
high
into this
talent. Yeah.
role.
Yep.
Yeah, so like I've got all of these expectations that I feel like I need to hit, and I'm in a different market. I don't know it. I don't, there's a lot of things to learn, and it's just so different. It's like a breath of fresh air, being someplace where people are receptive to what you're saying, and people are open to having a different conversation and things like that. And, like you said, being in the fitness industry for so long, you do get all those people that say, no, I'm good. Like 17 other people have just talked to me this
Yeah.
last week, and it's a different, I don't know, it's just different. It's like I said, it's
Yeah.
a breath of fresh air. So it's nice.
Yeah. One thing I noticed too, I was talking to Chelsea the other day, is and it's just like random. I don't know if this is like a Florida thing too, but like it, I don't even know. Well, I know what the situation, but like people here will be like, yes, sir, like whether they're my employees or not, there's like an underlying like level of respect that
Yeah.
I've noticed, like members, my direct reports, like they're just like, I even told them, I'm like, you don't got to call me sir, like it's really not that big of a deal. And they're like,
Yeah.
oh, it's just what I do. Like, are you noticing anything like weird like that where?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
funny. We actually were talking about this. We did like a whole Tampa meeting on Friday, like getting the group together and everything.
Mhm.
And we were talking about, one of the things that I've noticed is that people will call in and maybe they're overbilled, or they didn't expect something to come out or something like that. And they'll
Mhm.
call and they'll be like, hey, I don't know if you have time right now, but I just had a couple quick questions. I'm like, oh yeah, like I can help you out. And they're like,
Like
okay.
you called me,
I
I'm good.
yeah, I apologize. I'm not trying to, get in the middle of anything. Like if you have a meeting or something, like I get it. And I'm like, no, 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 you're good.
Yeah.
They'll ask their question, and this most of the time they're wrong. And I don't mean that in like
Yeah.
a, we're always right, but
It's their
you
annual
know,
fee, or it was something that you might have
something,
explained that they forgot or whatever.
something
Yeah.
that they forgot or they didn't understand something, but they weren't billed improperly, right? That
Right.
very rarely happens.
Right.
And so when I explained it to them, there was this one person in particular, they got very like kind of, I don't want to say aggressive, but they got upset. They
Mhm.
were nice, then they got a little bit upset because they misunderstood. And then I explained everything to them again, and they said, "Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I was under a different impression. I apologize.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is fine, but can we change this from here on out?" And I was like,
Yeah.
"Wow, that's." I'd be in the office for like an hour just trying
Yeah.
to, I don't know,
Yeah.
cool somebody off for something. But
Yeah.
that part is different. Employees are extremely nice. Um, yeah, it's just a respect level type thing.
Yeah.
So as long as you're respecting them, they've got
Even,
the same to you.
yeah, even like you were saying, like there's always like lawsuits or some, I feel like that ties into that, this in a way, because like back in California, some little billing mistake or something might happen and someone's like, I need the whole year for free. And it's like, whoa, like that's not even apples to apples. And they're like, nope, I need that
But
whole
you've
year.
only been a member for 2 months.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we told you we'd give you your third month.
Yeah. Well, for the
And
stress that I've gone through and the anxiety and like all these feelings that you have now made me feel and your company have made me feel, I need the whole rest of the year for free. It's like,
I
okay.
need the rest of the year, and then
Yeah.
I need training comped,
Yeah.
and then my so
Oh no, it cut out. It cut
are
out
you
a little
frozen?
bit. Yeah,
Oh shoot.
it's all right.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay. So actually there's something I don't know. I won't use like my internet connection is unstable. That's what it says. Anyway, we'll get it figured
Your
out.
fault.
So I won't use like places or anything like that because I don't know if it's
Yeah.
if anything is going to happen. But an example, just like you said, there was somebody that you know how like privacy laws, you can't send somebody's information or anything like
Mhm.
that. You also can't mass email somebody,
Yeah.
right? Um, Everybody's CC'd.
Right. Right.
So at one of our locations somewhere in America, that type deal,
Yeah.
it was actually very close. I know exactly the location. It
Yeah.
actually started to affect us indirectly, but anyway,
Mhm.
um, somebody was trying to be helpful, and for Memorial Day, they sent out like, hey, free workout on us, blah blah blah. If
Typical
you
marketing. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever, right? And there were so many email addresses that he couldn't do it all in one email. So he split it up.
Mhm.
So he split it up into 4 emails. The first 2 emails were BCC.
Right.
Everything
The
was
right
fine.
way. Yeah.
Then the next email was CC. Everybody got everybody's, and there's no information on it. It was just email addresses, right?
Right.
So technically, that could be like a class action lawsuit, huge lawsuit. But
Right.
in the email, everybody's responding, "Oh, like, look, it's just because somebody was like, hey, we stop sending my information out. We can get together in class action lawsuit, blah blah blah." And
Yeah.
somebody was just like, "This is just a marketing email. It was an
Just
honest
stop.
mistake.
Yeah.
Just stop." And then somebody else was like, "Yes, look, clearly there's nobody's infos on here. Just
Yeah.
honest mistake. Leave the guy alone." Like blah blah blah. And I'm like, wow, this is
This is
people
funny.
actually have
Yeah.
each other's back because you look at it and it's you're like, oh, it is just an honest mistake.
Right.
There's nothing malicious
Malicious.
about
Yes.
this.
Yeah.
It's literally just, hey, if you're interested in this, let me know. If
Yeah.
not, go ahead and ignore the email. But nobody's address or phone number, anything are on there. It's just an
Right.
email, which okay, I get that technicalities, but
Yeah.
it is what it is. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something silly. So
Yeah. Um, so what I guess I like this podcast. It's just like kind of catching up.
yeah.
What stocks are you into during this
Oh, dude.
this
Yeah.
downfall?
Yeah. Let's go into that.
Yeah.
Oh man. So the last couple weeks I've been really hesitant on
Buying
um
anything?
buying much, but when I do buy, I go big.
Okay.
Um, so let me see. I'll go to my history. So I went big into Ford
Nice.
because Ford
Yeah.
dropped a lot.
Hmm.
So I went big into Ford. But I think the biggest one, which is something that I think everybody was, it seemed as though everybody here was a little bit shocked about. A couple weeks ago, everybody knows Musk came out and said that he was going to buy Twitter.
Mhm.
So I get this notification, Musk's going to buy Twitter. And the first thing I do is I kind of think like, well, Musk doesn't have like really any money, right?
Right.
How can he buy Twitter? He
Right.
doesn't have any money. It's all in Tesla. So I was like,
Right.
okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and short Tesla. I'm just going to play that option.
Dang.
I'm
Yeah.
going to short it.
Yeah.
It worked out relatively well.
Nice.
So I shorted it. Let me see. I shorted
That's
it.
a big move. That's a power move.
It was. So I shorted it on May 20th when it was 700. Or no, sorry. My put was 725.
It got into sixes, I think.
It did, but at this time on the 20th, let me go back. On the 20th, it was, oh, that's not right. I bought it before. Oh, May 6th. So it was in the 860s.
Yep.
860s on May 6th. And then, yeah, it went all the way down to 628. So I shorted the stock. It was amazing for like 2 or 3 days. I got a little bit scared. And so, I mean, I'm looking at this, huge profit and I'm like, I'm out.
Yeah.
Cash out. And Tesla starts to climb and I'm like, yes.
You did it. Yeah. Yeah.
I caught the bottom.
Yeah.
I sold it at the bottom, like I sold it at the top from a put standpoint.
Right.
And right when I saw that, it tanks even more. And I was like, oh man, I missed out on so much money, but it's okay. I mean, that was the big one.
When you saw it, right, the way you think about it too is like when you saw it going up, even if let's say it was like 4 hours, 6 hours of a time span or whatever it was, you probably would have sold at that point anyways. So, I mean,
right. So, I mean, it's all good. It's continued to drop from when my short
window
would still be in the expiry. It would still be within the expiration date today.
Yeah.
And it's still continued to drop. So I would have still made, a ton more money, but I was looking at it from the bigger picture. We always talk about take your profits and go.
Yep.
And in this market, you don't know what's going on. So
yeah,
Tesla was my big short. I went into GM a little bit.
I have GM
and I did a GM call.
You got a lot of car companies.
Yeah. Honestly, the only reason is because I don't trust the market.
Yeah.
And those are solid, blue chip companies. They have dividends, so worst case, even if it tanks, you're getting paid out your dividends. Those companies aren't going anywhere.
Yep.
So for now, I went more into Copen because that just continues to drop.
Yeah.
So I'm averaging down.
Nice.
And those are my big ones. I've been playing a couple SPY puts and SPY options, or calls and puts, but other than that, kind of sitting on my hands for now.
Yeah. I feel
that.
Where
you in?
I personally haven't really bought a whole lot of anything, or sold whole lot of anything. I feel like I'm under on a lot of things, just like the market is just down. But like I was telling you, there was that Hyzon Motors. Yeah. My financial guy, he bought into that. It's up like when he bought, it's up like 50%, which is kind of crazy because like
it's at 482 right now, right? Yeah. And it's been up and down this past week. It hit got all the way up to 520.
Yeah, I think he bought in at 3 at the very bottom, like right perfect time, like 3 something. It was definitely 3. But I got into some copper, a copper ETF. I bought some actual like physical silver. That's about it. I bought a new gun. That's another investment.
There you go. Well, it is now. You never know what's going to change now with Canada restricting everything. So
crazy. I'm buying. So if you want to do like financial terms to it, I am I am, wow, I can't even think of the term, dollar cost averaging ammo. So
Okay.
ammo is, well, same kind of thing as gas. When I left California, it was extreme, let's call it $40 a box. Like even when we went shooting, it was like $30 a box or something along those, depending on what
Yeah, it was
caliber.
expensive.
Yeah.
Then it was
And
already up.
yeah, and so when I got out here to Texas, it was $20 a box. I did buy like a good amount. We're creeping up. It's like 24. There's some on the shelves for like 30. So like I'm just dollar cost averaging. Like every time I go to Walmart, I'll pick up a box. Like
Yeah.
it's just, I'm just saving. And as long as you store it in like a good dry, not super hot, not super cold area, then you're good to go. But um that's what I've been doing, like physical, kind of, I guess, like more like physical assets
Yeah.
time being, because yeah, the market's scary right now.
It's crazy right now, and they're only talking about this being a slight recovery before it dips down again. Something that I'm watching actually is the S&P 500.
Mhm.
I'm actually watching for it to break like 380. So it's at 410 right now. It's made a good recovery.
What's
Um,
what's 380? Is that like its moving average of
three
something?
well, so 380 would be right around the 380 mark, would be 20% down from the high point of the year. And once you break that, then you're in a bear market officially.
That's what,
So
yeah.
it did in fact get down to like 389
Mhm.
in what day was this? On May 20th. It got
So
down to 389. From then it's made a little bit of a recovery, but it's basically just been kind of stagnant. And on the year for the S&P 500, which I mean, is pretty crazy. On the year, it's down 2.5%.
yeah.
So
So is it,
it's usually up a little bit.
yeah, is it 20%? So I know the like character or categorization of like 20% means bear market. What is that? Is that like since the start of the year? What time frame is that given?
It's just the high point in the year. So if I'm
Okay,
looking at
okay.
the overall,
Highest
the,
point.
the overall highest point was on January 4th,
Mhm,
and that was at um, 477.
mhm.
And then you got May 19th, May 20th, you're down 18.45%.
Yeah.
So at that point, you were kind of flirting with that line. So now that's the S&P 500. You've got, NASDAQ that's already in a bear market. So it stands to reason that the S&P 500 could potentially get there, but it's making a good recovery right now.
And
Um,
Tesla was removed from the
they
S&P
were removed.
500, right? That
Yes.
probably that probably helped you a lot.
that so now I look at it, and we're just kind of sitting here thinking, if it does start to dip again and it does break that 390 mark going into the 380s,
You would
if it breaks, it'll go,
down.
there's that resistance level, or sorry, the support level, and then if it breaks support, it's
That's what I
it's
was gonna
probably
say.
gonna run down. So
Yeah. Yeah. If it breaks that, I mean, even just I mean, we're talking human mentality and emotions and everything. And as soon as the news breaks that it breaks that like officially on a close or whatever, like, every news source is going to be like bear market, bear market, bear market. And then, people are just going to like panic sell. And that's just going
yeah.
to continue to snowball. And yeah,
Yeah, so later this month, you've got like the GDP rates that are coming out. You've got the bond rates that are coming out.
a
So
lot
if
of earnings.
those don't show really well,
Mhm.
and the S&P 500 still keeps dipping, you'll have you could potentially have a bear market, and that you can still make money in a bear market. You just
Sure.
start shorting everything, and
Yeah.
and in terms of making money, that could be good, but in terms of the economy, that could be not so good. You've got interest rates increasing now. But the good news is, on all property that we've been looking at out here, we've been starting this last week to get, on Zillow, you heart everything that you like and that you want to keep updates
Yeah.
on. And I've been getting emails, hey, this dropped 25K. Hey, this dropped
And
18K.
people
Hey,
are
this
getting
dropped.
nervous.
Yeah. And so, and then the other piece too is, all these investment companies are buying, 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 but there's a couple that are selling. And, the I don't want to say the rule of thumb, but kind of that rumor that goes around is like, hey, you can't sell everything at once because you're going to flood the market. But when they do start to sell, that's kind of your first indication that people are starting to sell off to take their money and
Yeah.
and hold it until it,
Yeah.
because they see it going down until it starts to at least level out, and then
Yeah.
they'll go back.
Almost.
I don't think it'll dip too much.
Mhm.
I do think it has to come down, but I don't think
Yeah.
it'll dip too much.
It's almost like a stop loss, and then they want to buy back in lower or whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's all for investment purposes, so
Yeah.
it's all like, hey, if I can make an extra 10K on this, then I'm good. They
Yeah.
don't. There's not really much else that they're
So,
looking at.
so do you think with us possibly and quite probably going into a bear market in the S&P, do you see, because I listened to a couple things on the radio each weekend, but do you foresee a recession, like an actual like by the books recession? Because
Oh, sure.
some people think we're in one right now, but
I
it's a
wouldn't
case.
say. I mean, I think from a technicality standpoint, I don't think we're in one right now. But
Right.
if the S&P 500 goes into a bear market, you've got the Nasdaq that's already in a bear market. You've got interest rates climbing. You've got bond rates and all this that are less than ideal.
Mhm.
You'd be in an inflation where it is.
Mhm.
You'd almost certainly be in a recession.
Right.
But the last recession lasted what, 17, 18
Yeah.
months. So, from a by the book technical standpoint.
Right.
So I don't necessarily see it happening as long. It could be longer. It could be like 3 years. Who knows? I don't
Yeah.
know. But you posted something that was funny. It was like, are you paying attention to all the economists and what they're saying? And no, because
Yeah.
they don't know what they're talking about. So
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
who knows? It's a lot.
Yeah. Who knows? Let's pick up with another Zoom, and maybe we'll talk about like ways to try and recession proof your portfolio, or at least
Yeah.
like take advantage of what you can do to kind of hedge against it, or think even like long term past a recession.
Yeah. Let's go.
All right.